this video, I will be giving you a tour of an animal cell, but this isn't any boring tour. I will be dissecting a jello cell that I made and explaining what each organelle does and how they work together to make a functional cell. Let me get the first organelle. This plum represents the nucleus. The nucleus is often referred to as the control center, or the brain of the cell, because it's the organelle that controls the activities happening around the cell. The nucleus contains most of the DNA in a cell, which is important because the DNA is how the nucleus sends out its orders. Pieces of the DNA are copied into RNA molecules, which travel to the ribosomes to tell them to manufacture proteins in the endoplasmic reticulum. This whole process is like an architect sending his builder's blueprints. The nucleus has many different parts. The skin of the plum is called the nuclear envelope. The nuclear envelope serves as a protective layer between the cytoplasm and the delicate inside of the nucleus. The pit of the plum is called the nucleolus. This is where most of the transcribing of the DNA happens. And lastly, the chromatin. The chromatin is a combination of DNA and protein that is very tightly wrapped up inside of the nucleus with genetic information stored in it. This sour gummy worm represents the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is a long, interconnected organelle covered with ribosomes. Thus, the name rough. The rough endoplasmic reticulum's job is to help synthesize protein with the help from ribosomes, who have already gotten their orders from the nucleus. The rough endoplasmic's neighbor, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, has almost the same name, but looks different and has different functions. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is, as its name clearly points out, is smooth. Unlike the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum doesn't have ribosomes on it. The primary job of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is to produce lipids and detoxify poisons or other harmful substances in the cell. You see those there? I've already briefly mentioned ribosomes early in my presentation, but now I will go into depth. Ribosomes are the little sprinkles in the cell. They are the protein builders that receive orders from the nucleus and help synthesize protein in the endoplasmic reticulum. This right here is the Golgi apparatus. I think it's the coolest looking organelle. It kind of looks like, well, this. A folded up fruit by the foot. Its function is to modify, sort, and package proteins from the endoplasmic reticulum, either to be stored within the cell or shipped to other cells. Lysosomes are round organelles that are represented by these partially dissolved M&M candies. They are made in the Golgi apparatus with the main function to process and digest nutrients in the cell. The mitochondria, which are represented by these raisin clusters, are like the powerhouse of the cell. They create most of the energy within the cell by turning the stored energy of the mitochondria into ATP for the cell. This is a cytoskeleton. It's like the skeleton of the cell. It provides structural support and can change the cell's shape if need be. It also aids in the transport of materials along itself like a monorail. All this jello in here is called the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a fluid in which all the organelles are contained. The fluid without any organelles in it is called cytosol. Cytosol contains salts and other nutrients, which makes it a solution that organelles can freely move through on the cytoskeleton. This bowl represents the cell membrane. The cell membrane, like the bowl, is the outer boundary of the cell. In sense, it's like a bouncer. It controls what enters and what exits. It protects the cell by not letting in any bacteria or other harmful junk. As you can tell, the cell is a really busy place. But I find it really interesting how different organelles work together to function as one. For example, the nucleus works with the nucleolus by creating DNA used to make protein. In the nucleus, the DNA is copied onto RNA, which are then transported to the rough endoplasmic reticulum, where with the help of ribosomes, proteins are made. The protein travels out of the endoplasmic reticulum inside a vesicle to the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus tells the protein where to go, so then the protein leaves the Golgi apparatus and makes its way on the cytoskeleton out of the cell membrane. So I hope you found my tour of the cell interesting. I definitely learned a lot. A month ago I had no idea what any of this stuff meant.